Imagine having an AI agent on your machine that behaves like a software engineer. You give it a task like build a REST API in Node.js, and it starts generating the entire project structure, routes, controllers, and working endpoints for you. But it doesn't stop there. You can also give this agent multiple specialized behaviors. It can act like a crypto researcher, a code reviewer, or basically any expert you want, just by adding a simple file. And today, we're going to build exactly that. In this video, we'll go step by step and create our own AI agent using the Gemini CLI. Here's what we'll cover. First, we'll start with the Gemini CLI setup, where I'll show you how to install it and log in. Then we'll move to creating our own AI agent, where we'll configure it to behave like a software engineer using a simple Gemini.md file. After that, we'll showcase the agent by building a REST API project in Node.js, and we'll even test the endpoints to make sure everything works. Next, we'll make things more powerful by creating multiple agent behaviors using a .skills folder. And finally, we'll test these different agent behaviors, including a crypto researcher agent and a code reviewer agent. So the first thing we need to do is install the Gemini CLI. To do that, open your command prompt or terminal and make sure to run it as administrator. Once the terminal opens, we can install the Gemini CLI globally using the following command. After running the installation command, the CLI will start downloading and installing on your system. Once the installation is complete, we need to log in to Gemini so the CLI can access the models. For that, simply run the login command. This will open a browser window where you can authenticate with your Google account. After the authentication process completes, the CLI will now be connected to your Gemini account. Now we're ready to start building our AI agent. Creating the project folder. Now, let's create a folder where our AI agent project will live. Inside the terminal, navigate to the location where you want to store the project. Then create a new directory for the project. Once the folder is created, move inside that directory. This folder will contain everything related to our AI agent, including the main agent configuration, skills, and behavior definitions. Now the next step is to define the core behavior of our AI agent. First, open your project folder in VS Code so we can start creating the required files. Once the project folder is open, create a new file called Gemini.md. This file is very important because it defines the core behavior of our AI agent. You can think of it as the personality and role that the agent should follow whenever it generates responses. In our case, we want the agent to behave like a senior software engineer. So inside the Gemini.md file, we will write instructions that guide the agent on how it should behave. For example, we can instruct the agent to write clean and maintainable code, prefer modern JavaScript practices, properly structure projects, and explain important decisions when generating code. Once you finish writing the instructions, go ahead and save the file. Now open command prompt again. Then navigate to the same project folder where we created the Gemini.md file. Once you are inside that folder, run the Gemini command. By running this command inside the project directory, the Gemini CLI will load the context of this folder, including the Gemini.md file, so the agent understands the behavior we just defined. Now let's actually test our AI agent and see how powerful it is. Inside the terminal, we can start interacting with the Gemini agent and give a task. For example, we can ask the agent to build a REST API using Node.js and Express. The agent will start generating the entire project structure, including things like server setup, route files, controllers, and basic API endpoints. Once the code is generated, we can run the project locally. Then we can test the API endpoints using tools like Postman or Thunder Client. If everything works correctly, you'll see that the API endpoints respond successfully. This demonstrates that our AI agent is actually capable of building working backend projects. Now, let's make things even more interesting. Right now, our agent behaves like a software engineer, but we can extend it to behave like multiple specialized agents. To do that, we create a folder called .skills. Inside this folder, we can define different skill files. Each skill represents a specialized behavior or role that the agent can switch to. For example, let's create a file called crypto-researcher.md. Inside this file, we define instructions telling the agent how to respond when the user asks about cryptocurrencies. For example, the agent should identify the cryptocurrency, analyze the market sentiment, perform technical analysis, and summarize the key insights. Next, we can create another skill called code-reviewer.md. This skill will instruct the agent to behave like a senior engineer reviewing code. When we provide code to the agent, it will analyze it, identify issues, suggest improvements, and recommend best practices. Now let's test these skills. First, we can ask the agent something like, analyze the market sentiment for Bitcoin. Because we created the crypto researcher skill, the agent will now respond using those instructions. Next, we can provide a piece of code and ask the agent to review it. The agent will switch to the code reviewer behavior and start pointing out potential improvements, bugs, and optimizations. So now our AI agent is not just a single assistant. It's basically multiple agents combined into one system. And that's it. In this video, we built our own AI agent using the Gemini CLI, configured its behavior using Gemini.md, generated a Node.js REST API project, and then extended the agent using the .skills folder to support multiple specialized roles. This approach makes it incredibly easy to build custom AI workflows tailored to your needs. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more tutorials about AI agents, developer tools, and AI-powered workflows, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.